Hey, good morning. Hope y'all are doing good. I'm so sorry I haven't been on here for a while. I've been very busy. When you have a young kid, it's like they're always bringing home illnesses from the school, and then you catch it too, and then you also have regular life to juggle and all this, and so I've been dealing with that, and then I got better, and then now this morning I woke up and it's back on me again. I'm ready for some nice, warm, sunny weather a lot. So, but I have a lot to share with y'all, and I plan on posting at least one more, if not two more videos in the next few days, or more if time allows, but because I've got some extra time over the next few days. But I did want to hop on here and share some thoughts that were on my mind this morning. And I meant to post yesterday, in fact, a video I posted in my community tab, that I was going to upload a video yesterday, and I apologize. I just got really busy, and towards the end of the evening, I was hoping that the message, this is how I make my videos. It's sort of like I put a request out there, to the higher power, and he knows that I am wanting to be a willing vessel to deliver a message, right? And so normally I get that message, and that's how I translate that through my own perception filters and share with you all. And it just didn't happen yesterday. And even though I had, excuse me, y'all, I just had breakfast, making sure my teeth are okay. Even though I had a little time late last night, it had just not come to me. I had a couple of ideas during the day yesterday, but they didn't stick. They just kind of drifted in and then drifted on out, and that was that. But I shared with you all that we lost our beloved dog that I had for 12 years, and they estimated when I got her from the shelter that she was about 2. So she was roughly 14, maybe 15. I suspect she may have been a little older when I got her, when she passed away in January this year. And that's been really hard, really hard on me and my daughter. But she's been talking about getting another pet for a while, and I said, we will, but I figured it would be a little bit more time. And so I wanted to wait, but yet she and I both wanted to go and just look at the shelter. And we found a new puppy, and she's really wonderful. And I'll share with you all details on that really soon, but I want to focus on the message today. So, and I've been really busy with our new puppy and training her and everything like that, right? I mean, it's just when they're young, they require a lot of attention, hands-on engagement, and so it's been a joy. It's been a lot of work, but a joy, without a doubt. But what's been on my heart, especially this morning, is the concept of surrender. And I think that when you have your first season of life, for a lot of us, you're in a state of kind of like a hopeful dreaminess, right? Like a kind of a state of expectation, and there's like a feedback loop that happens in the physical, literal, material realm, where when you truly do put in the effort, it's cause and effect. You do get rewarded. It's for your efforts, like when you're trying to pursue a career, for example. And so what happens is this cause and effect, right? And even the Bible talks about working and putting in the effort. Man shall eat by the sweat of his brow, or whatever, which ironically was the curse. Okay? And I didn't even expect to share that part with you, but it does tie into the message. So just stick with me here. So It's funny how it all comes together sometimes, even when I'm sharing with you all. But this feedback loop in the material realm is that, okay? Cause and effect. You put in the effort, you're rewarded. But here's the but, and it's a big one. It's all in the physical, okay? What a lot of us have to realize, or we get to a particular stage in life where we do realize, is that excuse me, that old saying, all good things come from above, that's just it. You know, we are told in the Bible that gifts from God are just that. It's not something that we can work for. It's just we have to accept. Okay, so it's a different approach to life. And in other words, you can't work for and earn. You know, we're told you can't earn your salvation. That's a gift from God via Christ, right? So surrender is required. A laying aside of your efforts is required. And that's how the spiritual realm works. To me, if you look at it from a bird's eye view, okay, use that lens, then you understand that that's like the template for how all of the spiritual realm works. And so, you know, operating in the physical, that can get you pretty far, but at some point it's not going to be enough. And I think for a lot of us, we can absolutely believe 1,000,000% that we have our spiritual beliefs, you know, but yet we're still tethered, entangled, however you want to spin it, in this mindset of the feedback loop of how things work in the physical. And every now and then we have these little breadcrumbs, you might call them, of little miracles, you know, things that's like, wow, that's really cool, how, you know, this just happened, or, you know, however something played out. And they're like little clues or signs that there's something more, because when these things happen, what makes them so special is the fact that they seemingly came out of nowhere, right? In other words, the cause and effect, the rules of the physical didn't apply in those instances. And so they're special in that way. And to me, they're kind of like a calling. They're kind of like opportunities, you might say, to wake up to the spiritual in a much grander way. Okay? And so I'm thinking of, you know, the singing voice from afar that's calling Elsa, you know, in the Frozen movies. It's kind of like that. So over time, and this is why I think every person is presented with the opportunity direct from the spiritual to wake up to it. That's just my belief at this, you know, place and time at this point, you know. And I have to wear my hat, y'all. I don't like wearing hats, but it's cold. But this one's got a little seam, and sometimes it pokes up. It's like a little mountaintop on top of my head. It's like, but anyway, stay focused. But it's like we have these opportunities, and I think the more and more these happen, and especially when something else happens in your life that doesn't fit the mold of cause and effect, something that is really hard in your life to accept, like life-changing events, when those kind of things happen and they don't fit the cause and effect, and it sort of like shatters your whole perception of how reality works, and you have to literally strive to retain your sanity and your your baseline of operation, just, you know, with your emotions and everything. It's like those kinds of things are especially a very big invitation to reevaluate it all, right? And at that point, there's a lot of different approaches, obviously. So many philosophies and religions and however you want to spin it. But when it comes down to it, and you can look into all that. You can go down many, many, many rabbit holes, all right? But when it comes down to it, for me, it comes down to surrender. And I looked up that word. So surrender is it's really like a giving up. But it's not in the spiritual sense, it's not in the sense of like losing hope. It's not that. It's losing expectations in regards to how you've always operated in the physical. It's like a laying down of that. It's like a saying, okay, I see that there's more, and I don't know how it all works, and there's enough evidence now that's gone down to my life that I cannot deny that there's more, that there's a spiritual realm, there's something more at work, there's spiritual laws at work, and I don't understand them all. Going back to one of my favorite Bible verses, 1 Corinthians 3:18, you know, you must become a fool. The wise must become a fool first to truly become wise. In other words, you think you're wise in your own eyes, and then, you know, the lesson is taught to you really hard-earned lesson, right? Going through these life experiences that you don't know anything. And so it's a surrendering of that, and expectations are directly linked to what we think we know. And so you're getting out of the driver's seat, okay? And it's not, again, this is not a giving up in terms of losing hope, because you know, we have these really, really high highs in life and really low lows just through experiences. We all have that to a degree. And you reach a point, though, where where you understand that not every day is going to be sunshine and bringing you smiles and all this. It's just not going to happen. But yet, since you have dropped those expectations, you can still be at peace with things. It's kind of like in the Bible, it says, you know, all is well. You have to get to a place where you have surrendered expectations, because you understand that you don't know it all, and you're not in the driver's seat, and you want it to be that way. Okay? Remember, surrender is a giving up. You're giving what you think you know, and all your expectations and your desires, and you can still have desires, I think. You're giving that up. You're giving it up. Okay? And so now God's in the driver's seat, and you are simply a passenger. And it's kind of like whatever happens, and you're in full trust because you're in His hands. And I think that for a lot of us, if not all of us, I don't know, but I don't see any other way. It has to be a gradual process. This surrendering, this letting go, it has to be gradual. And I think it's just in layers or levels, you know. And the thing about it is, the peace that it brings is, it's not just as simple as that. The peace that it brings is that, you know, let me pause and shift. It's related, and shift and say, you know, I think that a lot of us, different stages in our life, when we hear people say things like happiness is a choice, that's bitter. You know what I mean? Because it's like, I I don't know about that, because how can you say any person in any situation should be able to choose happiness? And when you're looking at their situation and it's really bad, it just seems like a very inconsiderate statement to make, that happiness is a choice. But again, we have the example of Job in the Bible. And even, I've shared this book too with you all, Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. He's an example of that, a wonderful example of that. His mindset in his circumstances. He says that the one thing that cannot be stripped from man is his, basically, I can't remember how he said it. I haven't thought about this book in forever. But it's your mindset in any situation is a choice. And so, see, that exemplifies the concept of surrender as far as what I'm talking about. And let's take a positive spin on this. When you get there, it's kind of nice. It's really nice, because suddenly you find that, yeah, you still have a certain set of standards you live by, a code of conduct and your morals and your values and things like that. You still have all that you operate by, right? But what is gone, you realize, it's like you're having to whittle down this big puzzle. You're chiseling it down and trying to whittle it down to find this precious stone inside, okay? And what you find is at the core or the heart of what you really surrendered, it's judgment. And I'll illustrate that just in everyday life. In my life, what I have found is if there's something that I want, like let's say I'm at home and I've taken care of some basic chores and done what I need to do per my standards and what I believe is my moral obligation to as a caretaker and stuff like that, right? At that point, if I feel a call, right, I'm just a tug at my heart to paint, then I will paint. If I feel a call to order some of my favorite noodles, even if they're expensive, if it's something that was within my budget, the old me may have said that's unreasonable, because I could just eat this, whatever I've got here in the house. But if it's, again, you have to apply logic. You can't get away from that. We're still in the material world, so those laws still apply. It's like being in the world but not of it. That's what I'm talking about. So but as long as all that checks out and I've got the money in the bank or whatever, I'm gonna go get the noodles. So it's kind of like that. It's kind of like instead of pausing and trying to overthink and judge every decision in my life, which is very stressful. I don't think we realize we do that, because I don't even think that it's a 24/7 conscious process. But it trips you up. It holds you back. It's like we feel the weight. We feel the weight, the pressure of living this way. But it's so deeply ingrained in us that it's not even in our conscious awareness. It's in our subconscious. But yet it's bearing down on us. And what it is, again, at the core, is judgment. We're trying to judge right or wrong, good or bad, and we're getting caught up in that, entangled in that, and it's slowing us down, it's holding us back. And so I talk a lot about balance on my channel. Yes, you absolutely have to balance everything out, but in the spiritual, it's like, it's a beautiful experience to understand that you get, once you truly surrender, you are then able to be taught in stages, and the experience is really cool. And part of this is is not judging yourself for every little decision you make. And it's not even just judging yourself, but judging the thing, you know. It's like, you know, when I was younger, I used to get really caught up in trying to compare ingredients with different things. It's like, well, over here, this is not completely natural. Look at all these horrible ingredients. And you can go way, way down that path and into the details of the ingredients and studies and all this stuff. And then over here, here's an alternative product, okay? And it's all natural. But, you know, since you're researching, you go ahead and investigate all the ingredients here. Well, there's you know, pros and cons over here too. So it's kind of like I've said before, I can debate either side of an argument, because once you have done this enough in life, you understand that there's always two sides or more to every story. It's every single concept, every single thing is multifaceted. And it's at that point, it's kind of like, how can you hook into and remain tethered to a particular stance on anything? It's like life proves true, that verse. It proves it true. 1 Corinthians 3:18. I hope I'm quoting it right. And it's like, if you don't believe it on faith to begin with, then God's going to show you through hard lessons in life. And surrender is the result. You know, in other words, we are shown that we don't know everything. And so life proves the Bible true. That's why, again, it's prophetic. You know, that's what that means. And to live it is really something else. It's really something else. And you can think you have faith, but when life proves it true, it's like you go from believing to knowing. So this was something else cool. I was looking up the etymology of the word surrender earlier. And, you know, part of that word is render, okay? And that's related to the old Latin rendere, okay? And that means to restore. And if you think about it, you know, if you're restoring something, you're returning it to its former or original condition, but it's in a better condition than it formerly once was. It's like something happened. I think of like I think of the hero's journey, because they start at home, they leave home, they're stripped a lot of times of sometimes everything. They always lose, you know, either something really, really valuable, you know, and then they're on a quest to find it, or they lose many things and go through a lot of hard times in the underworld, you know, in the forests, in the fog, in the mist, on their path, you know, climbing the mountain, whatever they're doing. But they set off and leave home, right? And they go through all this stuff. There's just stripping away. And then when they come back, it is a full circle. They come back to home, but yet home is completely different. Everything has changed. There's typically a wedding, a marriage of some sort. A broken up family is restored, for example. There's new family members. Questions have been answered. Lost treasures have been found. And so all of these fairy tales and folklore, it's about restoration. It's about the hero's journey, but it ends in restoration. Okay? So the essence of all of these stories is surrender. It is surrender. But there has to be a letting go in order to receive. Think about this. Years ago, I was looking for some unique jewelry. I didn't care about it being expensive. I've never been into that. I mean, I've got my little resin. This one's cool. It's like a little dome with glitter and water. I don't know if you can see it, but you can shake it and it's like a little snow globe. It's not moving now, but it's really cool. Maybe you can see it moving right there. This artist, last few times I've checked over the years, she doesn't make this stuff anymore. And I feel this is so valuable to me because this is one of a kind. And even though it didn't cost a lot when I bought it, it was handmade, it's one of a kind, and she doesn't even make it anymore. I mean, it's irreplaceable, you know what I mean? But I got a little star on. I love it. I just love it. And I bought this stuff to try and make this stuff myself, and I hope I can one day soon if I get the time. But, where's it going? Oh yeah, so I was looking for just some unique jewelry online, and I like to support, you know, people who hand make stuff, artists and craftsmen. I love to do that. All right, I found this bracelet, and it's a whole thing. They made it a thing, you know, they got a website and stuff. And sorry y'all, I've got a little bandana right here, and it's holding up my visor, which just is loose. I've got to get that fixed. I've got a hair hanging down there. Okay, there we go. But this company, I think it was a woman that made it, and the website's maybe still out there, I don't know, I haven't even checked, but the concept was live hands free, and that's what she had stamped on these bracelets. Okay, live hands free. And it's all about non-attachment, which is a thing, you know, that's like a philosophy you can live by, obviously. But yes, that's what surrender is. And if you can commit to making it a moment by moment, a way of life, then the spiritual laws are going to, I think they're always working in our life, but we're going to recognize them, and then we can be a participant. It's kind of like, and the only way I say participant, because not like the cause of, and not in that kind of way where you can force something to happen, but a participant in that you consciously surrender more and more and more, you know, and your heart is open, your awareness is open to this way of operating, you know, the spiritual. That's what I mean when I say you can participate. But and as far as joy and peace, it takes on a whole new meaning. And when you talk about, or when people talk about, you know, finding joy in the midst of struggles and all that, the reason why, you know, concepts like, you know, choose happiness, and I've bought t-shirts like that before too, I've got stuff like that, and all this related kind of concepts, the reason why that's probably rubbed you wrong in the past, and I'm speaking from experience, is because you are operating over here, and you're frustrated because you're like, well, it doesn't work. You can't choose happiness. There's the cause and effect, and it's sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And you know, you're looking at circumstances. You're focused on the material, the physical. You're focused out here. And then as things progress and you change, or are changed, as you are changed, right, via surrender from your lessons, at that point, you know, like what Viktor Frankl said is true, and you understand that, I mean, what a joy, what an awesome thing to realize that there's more. There's more. There's so much more at work. And that alone is enough to give you a smile, you know, because you understand that you don't know everything. And so even though a moment may be very magnified and amplified in your life because it's so crazy and hectic and stressful right now, you're operating from faith now and surrender from that place. And so you just write it out. You're capable now of writing it out because you know it's not going to last. And suddenly it doesn't have that same hold over you anymore. You know what I mean? But just even in your day-to-day life, you don't feel that pressure anymore either, you know, of judgment. And that's really cool too. So that's that. I just wanted to share a casual, you know, discussion on my thoughts of surrender and transformation in your life from the physical to the spiritual, and incorporating both in your conscious awareness and walking consciously in that manner. And I hope that this has given you some insights, and I fully plan on coming back on and sharing some more thoughts really soon with you all over the next couple of days. And I hope you'll join me and tune in and listen and share your thoughts if you feel called. And I just thank you, as always, so much for coming along this journey with me, and for watching. I hope that you have a beautiful day, and I will see you again very soon.